All right, everybody, my name's Jason, and I know there's been a lot of interest in the HTVRONT auto heat press. I made my pledge on the first day or two of them being available. I believe I was backer 2220 or somewhere in that range. I chose the white version, and I did not get the package that came with the vinyl. So just the heat press, and then I paid for expedited shipping. So I received my heat press yesterday, which was September 22nd, 2022. And I thought we'd do an unboxing and a first impressions video. I should mention that this is our third heat press, so we don't really have a place to put it actually, which is why I'm in our messy garage. And what we mostly use our heat presses for is screen printed Plastisol transfers, mostly from Transfer Express, and then a little bit of heat transfer vinyl also. So we'll unbox this, find some scrap shirts, and we'll do some test prints with both the Plastisol transfers as well as the heat transfer vinyl. So let's see what we have here. I've seen a couple of posts for people that have received their press before me that have had some damage to the press when they open the box. So I thought this would be interesting to unbox together and see what condition it's in. There is no damage at all to the box that's visible from the outside. Let's get this opened up here. All right, so right up top here, we have the product manual. I have seen a number of reviews about the product manual not being most grammatically correct and a little hard to follow. I'll lay this up out of the way. All right, and there she is. It appears to be pretty well packaged. I'm going to pull these foam pieces out. Another tip I saw on some other folks' posts was to not try to remove the foam on the front and back of the press and to try to remove this whole thing as a unit out of the box. So I'm going to put this camera down and give that a shot. It's a little tight in there. I'm going to take off these bands that are around the side of the box to maybe give it a little bit more flex. All right, so the part that I've seen people report as being broken was the handle. So I'm going to take this off. All right, looks good in my case. So one of the things that I had heard was this decorative silver trim is falling off on a bunch of people's presses. I can see that. Yeah, and if I pull right here, I don't know if you can see that. If I just touch right there, you can see it's bubbling up. So it looks like that's just some type of an adhesive holding that on, some type of a tape. It's cosmetic. Same thing over on this side. So it's definitely cosmetic only. I don't think it would impact the function of the press. All right, there it is. Let me see if I can get it moved up and plugged in, and we will turn it on for the first time together. Okay, so I think I have you in position. I'm going to try to plug this in so that you can see what, if anything, happens to the press as soon as it gets plugged in for the first time. All right, here we go. All right, so It looks like just the power button is flashing. Let's turn it on. Definitely release the pressure on that clamshell. All right, so something I like already. This drawer has a really solid click. Not when you pull it out, it seems, but it really clicks back into place with a solid click. Like I said, I've seen some people post comments about these handles being broke when they receive them, but that definitely isn't the case here. Here's the heating pad that we know it comes with, and there's just some little tabs here, so that could be removed. All right, let's take a look at the screen. So we have a temperature button. Set this to 360. I'll go to 370. I typically do my heat, my Plastisol transfers there. And then typically 6 seconds for my Plastisol transfers. All right, so now I should be able to check that. 370, 6 seconds. Super easy to set up. The red light I know is indicating that we haven't reached temperature yet. So let's let it reach temperature, and then we'll check back and do a couple of test prints. Okay, so something I wanted to point out, I ran to get some blank shirts, some scrap shirts and transfers, and the press had turned itself off, I guess as a power saving or safety feature. I was only gone for a couple minutes, so I'll have to look into what that press time is, that auto off time is. Another thing that bothers me a little bit already, I mentioned the drawer has a really strong click back into place, but I'll show you some video here where initially it's doing it now still too. So when I pull out the drawer, there isn't an indent on the outside of the drawer, so it kind of lets itself go back in. Now I'm sure it's because I have something out of level, either the table it's on or the floor or the press, so I'm going to level the table with some washers and stuff to fix that in the future, I'm sure. But it just would have been a nice touch to have a little indent when the drawer is fully extended as well. So we are at our time and temperature for the goof-proof transfers from Transfer Express that I was going to use first. 375 for 6 seconds. So what I did want to do is just test how the pressure function, the auto press, works. So I believe you just press the green button, and the press goes down, and it's counting down the 5 or the 6 seconds I had set on the timer. It should auto release. All right, pretty cool. So I have it set for 375. The display is showing that we're at 375. I'm just going to take this heat gun and kind of hold it in there and see how accurate our temperature is. Trying to get all over the platen there. So 361. That's a little concerning since the display is showing that I'm at 375. So I think I'll try that one more time with a little bit more intent on making sure that I am hitting the center of the platen. Let's see here. All right, so that time I got 370.5, so about 5 degrees off. I guess since we're doing this, I should check it from the other side and see if there's any consistency across the platen, or across the heating element. All right, so 370.3 on the other side. So it's consistent across the heating element, it seems, but about 5 degrees off from where the display temperature is showing, which is okay. So I usually press about 10 degrees higher than what's recommended for the material I'm using. Okay, so hopefully you're at a good angle there. I just grabbed some scrap shirts. This one here is a Port & Company, I believe it's the PC 54 or 55. It's 100% cotton Port & Company shirt. So this is a youth extra small, actually, so I'm not going to be able to test if this platen is threadable. So one of the things I've seen in the comments already, and I absolutely agree with it, is it seems like an oversight that this drawer doesn't pull out all the way past the heating element. So let me try to grab something here. So there you go. So this is the front of the heating element, and there's still about an inch of that drawer remaining behind it. So regardless of whether I place my shirt on the drawer this way or flip it around, it seems either way I have to get my fingers somehow under that heating element, which seems like a little bit of an oversight for me. So let's try pressing over with some seams up on the platen. I normally try to avoid having seams up here so we have even pressure. I'm going to pre-press this just for whatever time I have set, 6 seconds. All right, I'm going to try a simple screen printed transfer. I'm going to put it kind of in the left chest position so that we're having to deal with all these seams and see how it performs. So this is a hot peel transfer, again, this is the Transfer Express goof proof transfer, which should press at 365 for 6 seconds. I generally do it at 375 for 6, and it is a hot peel, so let's see what we get. Really nice. Peeled smoothly. It looks like everything adhered nice. Super simple to operate. Let's try another one. I don't have a cover sheet handy, so I'm just going to hang the shirt over this way. And maybe put a couple. And this is more of a solid transfer. Let's see, we'll do this one here too. All right, slide that in. All right, these are both hot peels again. Hopefully you can see that they turned out really good. Feels really good. Nothing's sticking up. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. What else do I have? Let's see if I have a shirt that's not 100% cotton. Okay, so I found a 50-50 blend shirt. This is also from Port & Company. Let's see if this is threadable or not, although with the fact that, number one, this drawer doesn't stay extended, and number two, I have to reach my fingers under that heating element. I'm not really confident in the threadability. See, yeah, just trying to thread it pushes the drawer in. Let's see, I'll reach in through the neck hole and So it actually threaded pretty nicely, right? It actually threaded onto the platen pretty nicely, but it appears that the way that the drawer slides work don't let you close the drawer when the shirt is threaded on there. I'm actually going to put the cover sheet down on the pad because I have some artwork on the back side of the shirt already. So again, I'm not super comfortable reaching under that heating element. All right, let's pre-press this real quick. All right, I have a couple more goof-proof transfers from Transfer Express. One's a number and one's another logo. So we'll put them on there and let's see how it goes. These are both hot peel. Yeah, they look great. So I'm pretty happy with the way the press performs, especially on these Plastisol heat printed transfers. So far I'm a little annoyed by this drawer not staying put, so I'm going to get those washers under the legs of this table to try to level it out a little bit. And then, still a little disturbed that this drawer doesn't pull out past the face of the heating element. So I think next I'll get some heat transfer vinyl and we'll do a couple of presses with the heat transfer vinyl and see how it performs there. Okay, so we're all set to switch over to some heat transfer vinyl. In this case, I found some scraps of the Sizer EasyWeed, so I'm going to set my heat press for that. So they recommend 305. I usually go 10 degrees higher on everything, so I'm going to do that. Here, 315, that's what I normally do. And then they want the application time to be between 10 and 15 seconds. I'm going to go to the high end there, 10 to 15 seconds. So we're going to let that temperature drop down to 315. This is a hot or a cold peel, and they suggest using a cover sheet, so I have that ready here. All right, so we're almost to temperature, so I'm going to pre-press the shirt. And what's great about this is I can release it early just by hitting the R button again. All right, so I just have some scrap vinyl. I'm going to put this close to the collar seam and see how it performs there. Put on a cover sheet. I'm a few degrees short of, oh, there we go. It just hit the temperature I needed. You see it beeped and the button turned green. So we're going to press that for 15 seconds and we're going to try a hot peel. Nope, that did not do well. Let's repress that for 5 more seconds. It's possible that this is a cold peel vinyl. I grabbed it out of a scrap bin and assumed it was the Sizer EasyWeed, but it's quite possible that it's not. So let me take this off and let it cool. And then we'll try to do this as a cold peel. Okay, while that vinyl cools, I found another piece of scrap that's a little bit interesting, so I'm just going to give it a shot here. So there's already some prints on this shirt, so I'm just going to put it on there and get these wrinkles out though. So I'm not putting it on neatly, I just want to see how this vinyl performs, so we'll pre-press that. So the problem with this vinyl, it's kind of this checkerboard pattern. I have no idea who the manufacturer is or what the press setting should be for it. So we're just going to give it a shot. Okay, while that's pressing, here's the previous shirt that we did. It's now cold. Let's try to peel that off. So it peels really nicely. It must have been a cold peel. Must have been a cold peel vinyl. Looks great. All right, let's see if this is a hot peel. This might have been a hot peel. Feels a little loose still. I'm going to put that cover sheet on and just press it down for another 5 seconds or so. So back to the first press, that was definitely a cold peel vinyl. It feels great. None of the edges are loose. So check that out. Worked out really well. Okay, so then for this one, that also turned out really well. It's definitely adhered. Oh my gosh, it almost feels like it's not there. All right, let's see what we have. Let's try something with some finer lettering here. This will be the same vinyl as the first one, but a little bit more detail, a little more intricate. So I'm just going to partially thread the shirt on because there's already some graphics on other sections of the shirt. Pre-press that for a bit. All right, so this is a little bit more intricate. Looks like some Disney style lettering. Push this up here. Okay, we now know this is a cold peel, so I'm going to set that aside to cool. See how that performs. Still a little warm, not completely cold, but let's see. Trying to make sure this is on the camera for you. All right, let's see how this peels. So look at that, pretty nice. It wasn't even all the way cold for a cold peel. A little bit of intricacy in those letters. I don't feel any parts of those letters that aren't fully adhered. Okay, so while that last shirt cools before we peel it, I just wanted to show just a couple of different features and settings we have on this heat press. So again, kind of looked at the panel before, but we have our power button, temperature and time settings, our up and down arrows, and then of course this is the button that lowers the platen, applies the pressure, and releases it. There's a couple of other buttons that are on the front panel though. So the first one is pre-programmed heat modes. So it comes from the factory with 4 pre-programmed heat modes, and if we press on this button, it'll show you what that mode is in the display. So mode 1 is 300 degrees for 15 seconds. Switch to mode 2, it's 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Mode 3 is showing 330 degrees for 20 seconds. Mode 4 is 390 degrees for 40 seconds. So those are pre-programmed. It's just the way that they are. But this next button over, which the instruction manual calls the custom button, allows you to program in 2 different custom settings. So if I hit custom, I already programmed my first custom setting, 315 for 15 seconds, which is what most of the Sizer EasyWeed heat transfer vinyl is. That's the settings that I use on my other presses. And then my second custom setting is 375 for 6 seconds, which is the settings I use for my Transfer Express goof-proof vinyl. But you can program these to whatever you want. So if I wanted to change my second custom setting to 360 for 10 seconds and have that saved, I can change 360, 10 seconds, and I just press and hold the custom button, and it beeps. So now if I transfer through these, I can see my first custom stayed the same, but my second custom is now 360 for 10 seconds. So the final button I want to talk about is the automatic button here, and for this I need to move the camera back just a little bit. So the automatic button automatically lowers the press when the drawer is pushed all the way back in. So let me switch to automatic mode and let's check this out. So the drawer's out, I put my shirt on it, and I'm ready to press. When I slide the drawer in, when it's in automatic mode, the heat plate will automatically lower and count down, and then release. It's a pretty neat feature. So all in all, my overall impressions of the HTVRONT Auto Heat Press are pretty high initially with these sample shirts. So something we need to really keep in mind is the price point of this heat press is way less than half of the Cricut Auto Heat Press, which I would say is the competition for this press. So especially for those of us that got in on the Kickstarter deal, I mean, even at full price for what this press does, I do think it's pretty hard to beat. It seems very well built, very easy to operate with these controls, and I have to say it heated up incredibly fast, probably 4 to 5 times faster than my larger, more expensive heat press that I use. So I think I'm pretty happy that we added it to our mix of heat presses. Like I mentioned, we have 2 traditional clamshell heat presses, one auto open and one that isn't. So the couple of takeaways that I wish there would have been a little more attention to in the design process is just the drawer having a little notch to keep it open right here would have made a really big difference. And then again, the fact that the drawer doesn't pull out completely past the heating element. Other than that, I am genuinely really impressed by this heat press. All of those test prints we did, both with Plastisol, screen printed transfers, and heat transfer vinyl, came out perfect. So I'm looking forward to doing some larger production runs with this press, adding it into the mix with my other presses, and see how well it holds up over time. Of course, I don't think at the price point it's at, it's designed to be a workhorse of a press. I think it's probably targeted more towards a hobbyist press, but I'm looking forward to putting it through its paces and seeing how it performs for us. Hope you enjoyed this quick unboxing and first impressions of the HTVRONT Auto Heat Press.